Good evening and welcome to M-Dreaded TV, or good morning depending where you are or what time you're looking at this video, or even good afternoon. This is the 5th broadcast and I'm rather concerned about a few things. It seems like the world is going to hell in a handbasket, to be brutally honest. Of recent years we have seen developments all over the world that strikes me as rather disturbing and, quite frankly, troubling. In recent years we've had a US government who has had an overzealous foreign policy, a neoconservative sort of philosophy that has been ultimately destructive for everything they've touched, including people in America. We have had a destabilization of a region that was already quite unstable, i.e. the Middle East, in Iraq, and other countries like Afghanistan. We are possibly faced with possibly the worst situation for the whole world in many decades. In previous years, over the last few decades, the wars have really affected places in Southeast Asia, Africa, and in Eastern Europe. But unfortunately, I really do fear that it is going to spread if Western governments pursue an overzealous foreign policy, which only serves to get people's backs up, causes the deaths of thousands of innocent civilians in certain parts of the world, and could get in the way of other major oil-hungry countries' interests, i.e. China and Russia. This is particularly concerning with regards to Iran. In recent years and in recent months, the US government and certain elements of the Democrats' opposition, so-called, in the United States, have this rather overzealous look with regards to Iran. They have a really zealot sort of approach. I'm not saying the President of Iran is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, nor do I approve of his Islamist regime. However, they are no direct threat to the United States or their allies. That is a fact. And by all accounts, they're not building any nuclear weapons at the moment. They don't pose a threat to Israel. The current incumbent of Iran may not like the Israeli government, but what I can see, they do not plan to attack them. It would be unwise anyway. We all know Israel have got nuclear weapons, and we wouldn't want to give them any opportunity to use them by any means at all. But what I fear is that the Americans will want to strike Iran in the next few months. And this to me would be the most insane foreign policy decision in history. It'll be suicidal to attack Iran. It is not just about the Iranian army or how would Iran react to such things. It is also countries like China and Russia, if they react to this, because personally I don't think they're going to sit back and do nothing. If they start reacting to it, then we're all in trouble. And I really do fear eventually it'll probably go nuclear. I mean, the Russians are still developing nuclear weapons. They haven't stopped, all because of these so-called glasnost or peaceful stuff and going on and all that over the last 2 decades. Perestroika, the dismantling of the old Soviet Union, and the sort of almost destabilize the Russian economy and the rebuilding of the Russian economy. What people seem to forget quite conveniently is the fact that Putin is a former KGB guy. And there's a saying, which I like to say, once a KGB guy, always a KGB guy. He cannot be trusted. And I have a hunch, either him or the Chinese government will react if America decides to be foolish enough to attack Iran. You know, I really do fear this. What I personally think will happen is, if America does attack Iran, is that the Russians or the Chinese will react, and this time will react with quite some force, and this will spark off a spread. It will spread. Countries will join other countries, then it will spread and spread and spread until it is truly a globalized situation. It'll be insane. It'll overstretch Western armed forces to the absolute limit anyway, at best. And then somebody might just react and decide to press the button and go nuclear. There's a real danger of that happening. You know, we are faced with that situation. My advice to the US is to hold back and find a peaceful solution to the crisis, and not to fire one bullet or drop one bomb, because that will spark something. I just have this hunch that it will spark possibly the worst period of warfare in human history, because we are so stupid and so greedy. We want everything. We want the world's natural resources. You notice, you see the oil prices going up, they want more. So they want to grab everything they can. And Iran has quite a bit of oil reserves going. And you've got the Chinese economy that is still growing despite some of the setbacks that happened. You also got people in India that want to have the same lifestyle as we do. You can't blame them. Or people in China, obviously. And they want more oil. So the Chinese government do a deal, or the Russian government do a deal. So they're not going to allow someone to get in the way of their oil supply. I just don't think so, somehow. I just don't think they will. And in my opinion, as I say, if America decides to be stupid enough, or Hillary Clinton, or, you know, John McCain, depending who's in next time around, or even George W. Bush before any presidential elections decides to attack Iran, would be, as I say, would be insane. It just will not. It'll be a suicide. It'll be suicidal. It'll cause the world economy to go into free fall, and will eventually lead possibly to nuclear war. And not just millions, billions of innocent people dying. And that is something that we must, together, all of us, should strive to avoid, absolutely. But I'll be going on a bit more about it in later dates, when I've done a bit more research. But that's my first take on this situation, which I think is the most serious situation the world's ever faced in decades. And we've faced a few serious situations, even in the last 5 or 6 decades after World War II. So I urge all concerned to strive for peace. Until next time, I wish you well. Goodbye.